Welcome back to another episode of reddotcomicsden, where we talk about all things comics here in Singapore. I'm your host, VNC, and I'm here with my co-host, Ling Ying, and our wonderful guest, Rachta Lin. Thank you for joining us. I know you've been very busy and you're still really busy right now.
Yeah, I'm very busy right now.
Yeah,
yes.
you have AFA upcoming
that's
this weekend, and you just came back from New York.
Yeah, I just moved back just yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah, just yesterday. Oh my gosh. In the morning.
Oh,
and it was quite tiring because I didn't sleep after I arrived. So, yes.
You haven't slept? You didn't sleep last night?
I mean, I slept last night, but because, you know,
the jet lag.
The jet lag was pretty bad.
And you're also trying to, I guess, avoid sleeping during the day, then at night cannot sleep, and then it ruins your sleep cycle, right? Yeah, so we're very glad to have you here with us today to talk about your comics and your artwork. And for those who don't know or who just want to get to know Rachta, she's a Singapore-based illustrator and manga artist who is a beloved figure here on the Singapore convention scene and also overseas. And she has illustrated exclusive variant covers for DC Comics, so you can see some of these here, the Catwoman, Harley Quinn, and she's also illustrated Magic the Gathering cards for Wizards of the Coast. And you were also Blizzard's official artist for the Overwatch launch weekend. I saw. So that was really cool as well.
Thank you.
So she's also amongst working on these other projects, creating her own original comic series, her manga, the Wonderverse Saga.
Yes.
So today we're mostly going to be talking about her work here and of course about the Wonderverse Saga as well.
All right.
Yeah. To start things off, you could tell us a bit more about what made you realize that becoming a manga artist was your dream.
Wow. Actually, I realized about this fact very early on in my life. When I was 4 to 5 years old, I already knew that this is what I wanted to do. But it kind of sounds a little dramatic.
Even when you were 4.
Yeah. Actually, it started really early on. I was watching an anime on TV. I was just a little kid. I don't know why at that moment I felt like, oh, this is really cool. Like whatever is happening on the screen was really cool, and I was like, hey, that's what I wanted to do. I want to be able to draw like that. I remember it was very vividly in my memories. It's one of the things I remember from that childhood. Yeah. I mean, I forgot a lot of things, but I remember that moment. So I was kind of like randomly sketch what I saw on the screen. The main character is a magical girl anime. So the main character, she was using some powder pack to transform it. I was somehow really fascinated with that. So I was drawing a powder pack on like my school notebook. I'm not sure if I still have that.
Do you remember which anime it was?
It is. It's Himitsu no Ako-chan. Yeah, so that's the anime. And ever since then, it was like kind of my goal all the way. When I was in university, I kind of stopped on this goal for a while because I felt that most people tell me that it's
gotta be practical.
Impractical, how you gonna make money drawing manga, you're not even Japanese, you're not in Japan, how you gonna make money out of it? I was like, maybe they were right. So I was like, I kind of scrapped my dream and I worked in the corporate for a while. Then I already know what I wanted to do and was just kind of working my way back to it. Yeah.
I thought you were doing it the whole time. Yeah. I didn't realize that you had another career. Well, maybe it was a short time, but I didn't realize you had done something else.
I was in the computer graphic design and stuff like that. So when I graduated, I was kind of got into that field work. I was a user interface design, interactive media design, and those kind of things. I do a little bit of coding, stuff like that. And it was kind of like working all the way until I become an art director in a software company. Then at that point in time, I would say that was a turning point.
Did you realize that you reached kind of like the pinnacle and then you're like, this is not what I want?
Yeah, I mean,
something like that.
Actually, at that point in time, I was deciding really hard. I was very serious about either going forward or like going back to what I wanted to do all the time, which is my manga, becoming a manga artist. I was very serious about it. I was even considering taking up MBA or something because I'm already an art director. Then where else can I go from here? So I was researching what I can do from now. Should I take this MBA or that MBA? But it was like, okay.
Like you know in your heart, this is not what you wanted.
I mean, it was pretty good. Like, with the pay, it was nice and everything. I was in a very good company. It was a tough decision for me because I need to leave that safety net. But I'm like, this dream was kind of like keep nagging at me at the back of my mind. It's constantly on my mind for I don't know how many years. Like ever since I started working, I always keep thinking about it. Then I was like, oh, you know what? If I actually don't do it now, they probably will not be able to do this again.
You won't have the energy that you need to be able to complete the manga series.
So I made a call to quit and pursuing this dream.
That's amazing though. It's very brave. Like a lot of people, you know, they will say like, oh, I've given up my dream already. I can't go back to it. But then to make that decision as like a adult, you know, with bills to pay and everything. I mean, I respect that a lot.
You've mentioned before that like your first few years of being an independent artist was quite challenging. So like, how did you get through it then? Especially because you went from something that was so stable and you said was well paying to something that was like you really didn't know what's gonna happen. So how did you like pull through that yourself?
It's actually very hard. I wouldn't lie and say that it's easy. It was probably one of the toughest years of my life, like because I'm going against everything that I was taught or what people around me value. Like, oh, you know, my family, not very sure of my decision. Like, I'm sure it's not stable, and they keep asking about how I was doing. Like, oh, are you making any money? Like those kind of things. It was very difficult.
Asian parents.
So everyone around me were kind of like questioning me. I was also questioning myself. I mean, I know this one I wanted to do, but I was thinking, is this the right decision that I made? But I guess the thing that keep me going is like just pure determination. And also love. I know this is what I want to do, is what I would love to do, and I guess I can't put myself in a position where I cannot go back. There's no other way but forward. So I was just kind of keep going, keep going. Then I guess just doing that brought me here today.
I mean, the last few years that I knew you, it's always like at Comic Con, and then you have a booth, and then it's just you, and then you're the artist, and then everyone's like, you know, you're such a legit artist. You're like one of the biggest Comic Con artists that we see from Singapore in Singapore.
I see.
And then I just didn't know that you had even like, you know, all these different phases and all that.
I have a lot of phases. The first convention I went to, I wasn't even selling my artwork. I was giving it away for free, you know. I was like just trying out, and I wasn't sure how much like my artwork would be worth. I was just there and just give it away for free. And some people tell me, I mean, like, you can actually charge for this, you know. I guess you're right.
And I mean now you have commissions from like customers like around the world, right? And people are paying quite a lot for these commissions, right?
Thank you so much for your support.
After that first con that you had, you started doing more cons in Singapore, I guess. And then you started heading overseas.
That's right.
Like then how did when you headed overseas, it would be a very different scene from Singapore, because Singapore's quite small. And then overseas there's so many big artists.
Singapore also quite a lot of big artists.
There's a lot of big artists here in Singapore also. So how did you kind of like from where you started, which was you're giving your art away, to where you are now? Like how do you beat kind of like the overseas competition and get yourself noticed?
It's very hard to pinpoint how did I actually do it. It's a very organic process. Kind of learn from the experience and kind of adapt along the way. So it's very hard to tell you like, oh, how did I do it? Like exactly like in the list format. I guess if I have to sum it up, you got to have an open mind and keep learning from your experience. Like, okay, the first convention that had been in USA, that's the first time I was there. So I didn't know what to expect. But from then, it's kind of like, okay, learning how different it is, how similar it is. You know, like every convention I've been to, I take something from it. And the next one, I took what I have done in the past and improved the next one, and it just keep constantly happening like a cycle like that.
I remember like every Comic Con, your booth always looks different. It's like I remember there was one booth where it there was a screen, and then it was showing what you were drawing. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting because it's different from all the other artists around. Then last year at Comic Con, you did the Wonderverse Saga. And then everybody was carrying the paper bags with the drawings on it.
Oh my god!
And then I was like, well, where's this coming from? Then I was like, oh, it's Rachta again, but it's totally, your approach was completely different. Even though it's the same Comic Con. And I was like, wow, okay. I mean, it's great to see you doing something different every year. Yeah.
Thank you. I
remember thinking it was like super genius. Actually, because I think you were giving it out for free,
the paper bags.
Yeah, the paper bags, and it was advertisement for your comic and the whole entire convention. Because SGCC had 2 floors, right? But on both floors, you will see this bag kind of like around. So I thought like this, everybody will know very immediately what your work is, and they can be very excited for it. So I thought that was very cool.
You. I have my team to thank for that. I cannot accomplish this alone. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Just now you mentioned the differences between the overseas cons and the Singapore conventions. As someone who hasn't gone overseas yet into these conventions, I'm very curious. Like, what are these differences that you've noticed?
If I have to be very honest and specific, every convention is different. Yeah, it's not just overseas. Even in Singapore, one convention I feel is different from one another. Even in USA, a convention in this city is also different from another one in that city. So it's very hard to say how different the overseas convention is to Singapore, because even in Singapore I feel that it's different.
Let's say if it's a fan response, let's say America, how would American fans generally respond to your work vs like Singaporean fans?
I guess as a majority, American fans tend to be more vocal and they're very direct in their feedback. Like if they really like it, they tell you very passionately that they like it. And if they don't like it, they also tell you.
They really just tell you.
So they'll tell you like, oh my god, I love it. Or they'll tell you like, oh my god, I hate this.
And they can just comment on your artwork right in front of you.
They'll queue up to tell you that I hate it. Oh no.
So I mean, but
sounds intense.
Yeah, but the culture is a bit different. I guess in Asia, when we don't like something or we like something, we tend not to be extremely vocal about it. But American people, I feel that they're more open and passionate about their feelings and opinions. It's kind of nice. It gives the energy in the American cons.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's what I noticed as well. Like, just from what artists overseas who go overseas have mentioned, they notice that fans, they just very, very direct, like you said. So I wonder if that's something that Singaporean fans would do more. I've heard that like it's nice if local fans can also support their artists very vocally as well. Tell them that like, oh, I love your art, and I think it's very motivating for people to hear.
Definitely is.
Yeah, especially if you're a Singaporean artist and you hear from Singaporean fans that your art's really, really great. And there's just something about like hearing from a fellow Singaporean that's particularly motivating. Now that you've kind of been very stable, you've done this for a while, what's a day in your life like as a manga artist?
It really depends on what I'm doing or where I'm at the point in time. Okay, if I'm not at a convention, let's say I'm at my studio, I mean, it's kind of a routine. I live myself almost like a monk or something. Like, it's kind of similar every day. From the work day, wake up, exercise, then after that eat lunch. Then I start working. Yeah, then I work all the way until I feel that, okay, I'm done. The work is done, I feel that, okay, that's enough for today. So that's what I do. Almost every day, if it's a work day, it's always follow this schedule. And now, I have a studio in Thailand, so to do a lot more traveling back and forth. Yeah, traveling back and forth. Then it's pretty much the same. The office open, my assistant come, then we discuss. Then we both of us are just working all the way until basically the office hours is ended. Then she went home. Then most of the time I still continue to work. Not sure if that's healthy or not, but but I do that. Yeah.
Now you also have a new Thailand-based studio as well. Where did that start up? Was that recent or?
probably at the beginning of this year.
Oh, it's very new.
Yeah.
So they are helping you with the Wonderverse Saga then?
Yeah, they're helping me with the Wonderverse Saga because obviously I feel that manga, I want to do it in, how should I say, like a professional level. I need a team.
Yeah.
If not, then my output wouldn't be as fast for, let's say, a commercial requirement.
Yeah, that's very true. If you're doing it yourself, you'll be drawing 24/7 for like the next 2 years. And,
I mean, I guess even if I have help, I still have to draw that much. It's just it will be much faster.
Yeah,
to
the book will
finish a
come out
chapter.
faster.
Yeah.
And it's also going to be a multi-volume work, correct?
That's my plan. If in an ideal world, it will be multi-volumes. Yeah. Actually, even now, I mean, there's no way that the story will unfold within just like one volume.
One volume.
Yeah. I mean, I've read the draft before, and it is not a short story.
No, it's not.
It is not a simple story. It's definitely something that needs. Like at least I don't know, like maybe like at least 3 books or something.
Wow,
yeah.
It is.
But I'm very excited.
My imagination
to see
is definitely like 10, 20, but I'm not sure.
I'm sure there's more. I would love to see more.
I would love to do more too.
Yeah, maybe for those who are just who just watching and they're maybe not familiar with the Wonderverse Saga, you want to introduce the concept of this original manga to everybody?
So I guess a short introduction is kind of like a fantasy superhero genre. In this story, the people with superpower, they're actually not the good guys, they're actually the bad guys. And the main character is kind of a world where it's extremely oppressive dystopia. The people with superpower, they're kind of like the overlord that controls everything. So the main character, he's born without power. He's considered a subhuman in this world, and he is considered like kind of like a slave class in that system. So he has no rights, he has nothing, he cannot do anything. His life doesn't belong to him. So it kind of tracks a tale of this main character on how he can overcome these circumstances in his life.
So what inspired like this story that you have in the world and its characters?
I guess it's coming from my belief, and it's like a manifestation of myself, like what I like, what do I believe, what genre of movies, of stories that I like, what kind of character that I like. It's just kind of like I say, it's a manifestation of myself, because the theme of the manga is kind of like, it's talking a lot about humanity, compassion, love, and those kind of things. Like I see a lot of things happen in the world, and I know that I like this, I don't like this, so I just kind of expressing it in my manga pretty much.
It's like your own philosophy about like the world and humanity. I think that's great though, because I mean when you read the story, I mean it's a fantasy story. It's a fictional world. The characters are not, I guess like even the time period is not very clearly shown. But then it tackles all these things like society. It's happening on that scale, right? There's society, there's politics. That's why I feel it's a very interesting, interesting story.
No wonder you need like multiple volumes to be able to break that down. Because if it's like a world level, institutional level, you're going into the politics of it all, right? There's so many things you need to establish as compared to it being like one volume where maybe it's a pre-established world already. There's a lot of things you need to build.
So I read it for the WIP last year. Was it last year or like maybe 1 or 2 years ago? And then when I read it, right, it was before I watched Attack on Titan.
Oh my god!
And then later on when I watched Attack on Titan, I was like, hey, like this reminds me of the manga that you drew, because I was like, it's it's that kind of storytelling.
Oh yeah, he's also pretty dark.
It's pretty dark. It's pretty epic. Yeah, it's a very detailed, multi-layered kind of fantasy story. I was like, oh, that's quite cool. Like I really hope. I mean, honestly, like Singapore hasn't had that many like manga series or comic series in this kind of genre. So I'm very excited. I'm like, oh wow, like I hope to see the story developing and the characters developing.
Oh, okay, thanks a lot. That means a lot to me.
It was very memorable to read for me.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of like huge multi-volume work. Like we have short ones, maybe like 3 volumes, 4 volumes. But you know, if you're talking at the volume length that you're thinking about, which is 10 or 20, right? That's something that like very rare in Singapore, because comic production is very labor intensive, and that's why you have your team, right?
It is really labor intensive.
And in Singapore, like it's very hard to have the capacity to make such a long work. So no, I admire your ambition, and I really hope
I'm trying my best to make it happen.
Supporting you all the way.
Thank you. Trying my best.
Beyond like kind of the things that we've kind of mentioned in terms of labor and the building of the world, what else do you find is one of the more challenging things that you had to deal with when it comes to working on this?
Okay, I guess there's 2 main challenges I can think of right now. The first one is time. I always feel that there's never enough time. I'm also flying around a lot for conventions. This is actually my personal project. I do this, and it's not really like, you know, my commercial one where I get paid or anything. This is my passion project, right? But I still need to make a lot of time for it, and I'm trying to train a team to be able to handle this with me, and it's kind of coming along slowly because I find that to find a person with exactly the right fit as an assistant is actually quite challenging. So I'm very lucky that I already have one person. So I'm having one coming in early December, so we're fine now. See how it goes.
You have 2 to help you out.
That's good.
All right, so
3 is still very little people.
to do a I would say it's very little people. I know that, let's say Japan, a very big production, weekly manga, they need at least 10 people to churn out that level of, you know, of requirement. So I'm still a long way to go, but I'm trying my best on that. I guess another one is also the story. The story is quite difficult, for me. Okay, artwork to me is easier because we have done it a long time, and you can tell exactly when something is going to be done, right? When I try to come up with stories, like you go into a deep, dark ocean, try swimming around your own subconscious, or trying to find whatever comes out like as an idea for story, character. The hard part about it is that you don't know if you're gonna find or not. I always have this fear that I wouldn't find anything good enough that will be entertaining for people. Good enough is not, how should I say, it's not enough. It has to be really good, right? It has to be a really good idea, and to get that good idea is always a constant fear for me if I can get that good idea or not.
I guess story is like, as in for artwork, you can keep working at it and improving it, and you know that you'll get better and better. But for story, maybe it's harder to, I guess, fish for because you have to wait. You have to sit there and wait for the idea to come by. And
Maybe. And to me, it feels a little less kind of like methodical than art. I could be wrong about this. It might be that I'm not good enough. But I feel that it's harder. Artwork is more straightforward. You start with a face. It's just very step by step, right? But story, to get that very great idea is not as easy as that. So
me and my friend, whenever we try and write something, we very easily come up with all the characters. The concept is so hard, like easy. It's like, we want to do Xianxia, or we want to do like, here's our list of OCs, and then we have it all. We know how they look, and then after that, we're like, okay, we want to sit down and write it. Then the plot becomes challenging because even though you know how to build the beats of the story, your regular beats, depending on what you follow, hero's journey or anything else, right? It's challenging to say, like you say, finding that original thing that you feel like will make the story interesting. Because you could write something and it could to you feel very generic, but maybe for somebody else it could also be quite original also. So you're never really able to gauge it quite well, like what kind of story that you need to write. So it becomes very, very challenging. For me, plot is the most challenging part. So I also absolutely relate to you.
And I think also it's very hard to know when something is a good plot or not a good plot.
Right? It's kind of hard.
Yeah, like there's some movies where if you heard just the plot, you'll be like, this doesn't make sense. But it's a great story.
Oh yeah.
So it's a bit like it's very hard to like really be like, this is the plot, this is the story. Also, there are a lot of great art or like great stories or great manga series where the story is not that good, but it's still great. Like Evangelion. A lot of people say like the ending. A lot of people say the story is good, but the ending is weird. Yeah, I love it also. That's why I love it, and I'm like, oh,
I have a box set at home. Oh my gosh, it was great.
I started rewatching it last year.
Oh yeah.
And then when I watched it, I was like, oh, as an adult now, then I'm like, actually the story is a bit weird.
Did it not age well?
The ending is.
Should rewatch it again. I don't know.
I think there's some things that now feel a bit inappropriate, like about the characters, because they're like teens or pre-teens, right? And then they're very sexualized. Yeah. But I mean,
I guess.
That's fine. Like it's just part of the era.
Well, I feel that was quite groundbreaking for that particular period of time. Yeah, but I haven't rewatched it recently, so I'm not sure how would I feel about it now.
It's still one of my favorite anime series. Yeah.
It does deal with a lot of like huge overarching themes with like the world and like morals and ethics. I'm not that familiar with Evangelion, but from what I've heard, it's also quite a dark story as well.
Maybe that's why I like it.
Yeah, but what I do know is like the Evangelion theme is so iconic for me. Like if I hear it, like I will know immediately.
Oh my god, yeah.
Even though I've never watched it, I will say I've never watched it, but I know it. And I like for yourself also, you also have a theme for the Wonderverse Saga. So I thought that was really cool. Like you have this music collaboration in the book trailer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so how did that happen?
I'm fortunate that I am not doing all this alone. I have a team that helped me with this kind of thing. Yeah. I'm not the best when it comes to marketing. I'm lucky to have my manager that helps me out in this. Yeah. Like, okay.
So your manager helped to broker the music collaboration. Like they reached out to this musician.
Yeah. Basically, he proposed an idea. Okay, in order to market this, we should do this. Then basically we're a team. We just kind of talk among each other. I was like, really, are we gonna do this? Like this, how we're gonna do it? Who should we contact? And stuff like that. So I guess it's kind of you work in a company before. I guess you it's like a different department. Okay, an art department, and maybe he's like marketing department. Then kind of like, let's have a meeting. Then let's talk.
That's great.
Actually, it's so great you get to do that, to have that separation where you just focus on your art and your craft, and then your manager worries about all the nitty-gritty business stuff. Because like a lot of independent creators have to juggle both, and it's very challenging. Because like if you do focus too much on the marketing and the promotion, then you don't do what you love.
To do your art.
And then if you draw a lot but nobody hears about you, then you also feel like you feel quite down, like people don't really know about your art. So I thought that you have a very balanced way of dealing with the promotion and your art creation. So I thought it was really cool. At this point, like you've worked on the Wonderverse Saga for quite a long while. So do you intend to like publish this independently or with a publisher?
In an ideal situation, it's always my dream to publish it in Japan. That would be my dream comes true. I have this thing that I promised to myself that I will publish this manga no matter what. So I'll publish it no matter what. It doesn't matter with who or how, I'll publish it. And I guess I'll just make a decision based on what is the best for my manga at that point in time. If it's self-publishing, it's the best choice. I'll go with self-publishing. And if publishing with a publisher, like either Japanese, Western, or wherever, it's the best choice for my manga at that point in time. I'll just go with that one.
So you're kind of open at this stage, basically.
I mean, I'm open. It just as an artist, I have to focus on my craft first. I mean, I can think of all sort of like, situation. Oh wow, what should I do with this? Where should I publish? My focus right now is just to make this a good, entertaining manga. That is my job. So yeah.
I think your perspective is quite, it's good. It's very hard to fixate on one path. And actually the reality is that maybe all of it is possible, but it'll happen at different timing. So there's always a possibility that after you self-publish, then a publisher publishes it in America, or in another country, and then a Japanese publisher publishes it later. It could happen in any order at any time. So it's great that you don't have a fixed path for it.
We have been in talk with some publishers, but my like I say, my focus right now is to
get it out,
to do the best on my part, as an artist.
Do you have like an estimate of when we'll probably see the first volume soon, or when you feel like you might be ready to show?
Currently, it's coming along. while I'm actually talking to you right now, my assistant is working on working on drawing the environment, everything, supporting characters. Certain things I still need me to draw, like let's say the main character, because I know the full story and I know how that character is supposed to look like at that point in time. Like it's kind of like directing an actor, you know.
Yeah.
So in this regard, she might not know exactly how to do it because she doesn't have a full knowledge of the story from start to finish, right? So that part I still have to do it, but it's coming along. It's slower than I hope. It's still a learning process for me to have a team, to work with a team, to come up with a commercial level kind of manga. I think based on the current timeline, maybe the beginning of next year, we should be able to see the finished product, but I'm not sure when it will be commercially available.
So hopefully maybe some like next year, you know, once you have the manuscript out, by the end of next year maybe something will happen. So that'll be quite cool to look forward to as well. I think maybe to end off, perhaps you could hear like whether you have any last words for kind of aspiring manga artists like yourself, perhaps in Singapore or even overseas.
You have to love what you do. I want you to ask yourself about this carefully, this question like, oh, do you actually love drawing? What reason are you doing this? Do you love it? Or you just doing it because, okay, it looks cool, it looks glamorous, like those kind of things. All works, I feel, in my personal experience, how I talk to other people in my industry, is actually the real work is never glamorous, right? There's a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. In order to be able to go through all that thing, you need to love it. Because if you don't love it, after a while you'll be like, oh wow, what the hell? It is so hard. Why am I even here? I want to be out of here,
hours.
man. I mean everything, like, you know, cosplay, drawing, like everything. Actually, even like your work right now too. I mean,
right? Like publishing work.
I mean, if you don't love it, there's no part of you that love what you're doing. You're gonna have a lot of pain, a lot of stress along the way. So that's the first question you have to ask yourself. If you say yes, this is what I love to do, then you go all the way. Another thing that I want to say is that if you're doing your best, you should be kind to yourself. Don't be so harsh on yourself, you know, like, because success wouldn't come to you sometime. It will take a long time. It will take a while. And when you see people who are successful online or on social media or at a convention, you might not think that there is a period of time before that they were struggling. So you only see the good part, right? But you don't see the bad part. Everyone has to go through that. So if you are actually going through that right now, you should be kind to yourself. I think this is very important. Some artists has a lot of depression. Standing, oh my God, my artwork, nobody see, nobody buy it. And this is not uncommon. It's not uncommon in the industry. It happens all the time. So if you are already doing your best, be kind to yourself. Just keep going forward, you know, like just do your work, focus on your craft. Don't think too much about other people's opinion. I feel that if you keep on walking, even if it might not be like the fastest kind of walk, but if you keep on walking, you reach somewhere. You get there somehow.
So it's very, very insightful, especially now. I think like everybody's trying to fight for attention online. You can feel like you might feel very invisible if you don't get noticed, you know, online, or get all the big following, and then you start wondering like, is that it for you? But I think that's not necessarily true lah. So I think
that can be very hard for artists, especially the younger ones. I feel.
So like what Rachta said, I think is really solid advice for people who are watching. You understand what's true to yourself first and you follow that. Where instead of like focusing on numbers, focusing on response, and then also allowing yourself to rest and take care of your mental health as well.
Definitely. That's very important.
So thank you a lot, Rachta, for sharing and talking about your journey as a manga artist in Singapore, and also talking to us about your wonderful manga. And also thank you as well to the WIP program for their initiative by Singapore Comic Con that helps aspiring creators get published. So they are the ones sponsoring this episode. They are in the background, as you can see. So thanks a lot to them. But before we end off, actually, we have a very special gift for you.
Wow!
So
oh my God! I got a gift! Oh my gosh! Oh, it's the mysterious white box. Okay, let me see. It's not! Oh, it's so cute!
Yes, it's...
Oh yeah, I'm needing a mug, so this is great.
Yay! Like that.
Thank you. Okay,
yeah, it's a special
it's so cute.
SGCC WIV and COMIXSG
Oh my gosh, it's so
exclusive.
cute.
Yes,
Yeah.
drawn by our community manager Nadra.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You're
Yeah, yeah.
amazing. What?
Wait,
It's great.
is this you? Is this Rachta?
What? Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy cow, it's so cute.
Yay.
Okay, I keep this mug with me forever. Thank you
We're
so much.
touched.
It's
We're
super,
touched.
it's super cute.
Every time I see it, it's better. It gets better and better each
Yeah.
month.
Yeah. If you guys like this episode, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to follow COMIXSG and hear more from us, you can check out link in our description. You can also follow Rachta through all the links there as well. And we'll see you guys next time for our next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.